Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. And I thought for number 64 I would try to focus on some books applicable to the title Freemasonry and Satanism. Consider what that means. Freemason, Masonic lodges, Rosicrucian lodges, Club of Rome, Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, Bohemian Grove in California, where Alex Jones snuck in there and videotaped one of the rituals, cremation of care. They have a gigantic owl and a fire in the belly below, and supposedly they toss in a child, a baby. When questioned on this, they said it was an effigy, a fake baby. I say, what does it matter? Why are you tossing a baby into a fire? We'll get to that. And they dress up in long robes, apparently naked underneath. These are grown men, no women allowed. Many of our famous politicians have been photographed there. Kissinger, Bush, Reagan. Look it up. Alex Jones, Bohemian Grove. Watch the video. Decide for yourself. And then they ship in gay men for, I guess, some kind of satanic ritual sex at the Bohemian Grove. The Church of Satan trying to erect that statue of Baphomet, the devil with the horns, in Detroit, when they tried to erect it in Oklahoma on a state building next to the Ten Commandments. So what did Oklahoma do? They said, we can't allow you to put up the statue of the devil, 9 feet tall. But we'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make the public take down the 10 Commandments. You see what they do? They use tactics. And they bring us this new Mother Earth Gaia religion, higher consciousness. Meanwhile, in the military, apparently you're not supposed to talk about Jesus. They'll kick you out of the military. They'll fire. They'll court-martial you. Gag orders out west, Washington State, Oregon, I forget where it was. You can't talk about the gay marriage issue. Obama has done some censoring on the conversation of gun confiscation. Spain has put a gag order on people talking about conspiracy theories. Anything anti-government is a crime. In the United States, apparently, they got a new term. I keep learning these new terms, the way they play with words. Anti-government belligerent. So no matter what the government does, how evil they are, how many police beat up people, military putting their equipment, tanks and rocket launchers in your cities. No matter what they do, you can't say anything negative about it. Or maybe you're going to be an anti-government belligerent. And if they try to disarm the public and you resist, you'll be maybe called a terrorist, a threat to national security, an insurgent. So there's something weird going on, and with this series, Freemasonry and Satanism, I was merely trying to point out that there are Masonic lodges on every corner of every major city, sometimes vast buildings, and they call them temples. And the Jewish religious facilities are called temples. And if you read the Freemasonic books, which I've done in my videos, it's focused around Jerusalem and the temple of King Solomon and rebuilding it. We'll get into that. So again, I could have called this series Freemasonry, Zionism, Jesuits, Rosicrucian, Satanists, Hollywood, Kabbalah, and all the other Luciferic secret school of Babylon, religion, pagan, right out of Egypt, like the pyramid and the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill. So So I thought I would look at one guy that I respect and watched him speak in different interviews on the YouTube and read his papers and his books. Matrix of Power, Secrets of World Control, Jordan Maxwell. That's a lot to say. Matrix of Power, Secrets of World Control. Alright, I thought I'd read some of the information on the back before I get started. Jordan Maxwell is considered one of the world's foremost authorities on the ancient religions and modern conspiracies. His works on the true meaning of symbols, the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, the snake, many of your military symbols, the 666 in front of CERN, where they have the huge collider, and the statue of Shiva, the many-armed demonic being from the Indian religion. Why would that be out in front of CERN? The goat, they had a big video projector beaming a goat up on the Hoover Dam. Gigantic thing. The goat is the symbol, of course, for Lucifer, the devil, Baphomet. Anyways, he grew up in a family that had high-ranking insiders in international politics and religion, so was privy to the behind-the-scenes information that few people could imagine during the time that he was growing up. It's taken me 10 plus years to get a focus on this, what the heck's going on in the world. Most people don't know. That's why I made these videos. And I realize it's a chore to have to sit there and take notes and watch a 2-hour or 1-hour video. But would you rather be ignorant and not know what is coming? And a lot of people would be. Should you be apathetic? Don't care. If you are a spiritual being in a biological body, what's the price we're going to pay? You're going to pay. Anybody who's apathetic and watches other people be killed and robbed, imprisoned unjustly, and we don't speak up. Is there a price to pay? I think there is. Who really runs the world? Who controls the money, politics, almost every facet of your life without you knowing a thing about it? Is such a thing possible? Exploring this fascinating subject with a man who has devoted a lifetime to uncovering our hidden masters. So the format, after you watch this video, will be the format of a couple more videos as I read from some of the material from his book, plus other books, plus photos to keep it a little interesting, and my commentary. So this book was published in 2000, Matrix of Power, How the World Has Been Controlled by Powerful People Without Your Knowledge. The real reason for these videos that I'm making is it's looking like some event is on the horizon. You can look out over the sea. You're not quite sure. Is it a sailboat or a big ship, or there's something coming. You can see a little dot. But as it gets closer and closer, it starts to unveil itself and you make out what it is. And that hopefully is what these videos that I'm making and other people are making, and websites, and trying to expose apparently the behind-the-scenes governments that are causing a lot of chaos and death and mayhem and theft, ruining countries, assassinating presidents, assassinating doctors recently, 3 or 4, according to one video I watched. Several doctors who specialize in exposing the dangers of vaccines are popping up dead. Then there was the case not too long ago where several doctors, biologists, famous biologists, several of them popping up dead. Then there were astronomers, several of them, falling out of ski lifts, jumping off of buildings. And we know they say there's some kind of Planet X possibly coming, or asteroid going to hit Earth. Could these astronomers have proven that it was a lie? Did they have to be assassinated? Obama and other people, probably Bush did some of it, but Obama mostly in the last few years has been letting go many of our experienced and respected military leaders. Apparently they answered the answer to a question wrong, and the question was, would you fire upon the USA people if ordered to do so? And when they had a negative reply, they probably lost their jobs. It's interesting. All right, page 5. A little bit here to read. At one time or another, we have all questioned as to whether all that we see and are experiencing in our world has some sort of rational plan behind it. Because we understand now that both the Republican and Democratic parties in America are basically run by the same people. I want to reiterate that. The Republican and Democratic Party are controlled by the same people. You get the average citizen out there, they get such a hatred towards the opposite party. I've got Democratic friends that hate the Republicans, blaming them for everything. And of course you gotta have Republican friends who hate the Democrats, blame them for everything, being so liberal. And the Democrats say that the Republicans are so conservative, when it's nothing even close to the truth. As Nancy Pelosi said, I wish we could get rid of the teabaggers so we Republicans and Democrats can get back to business. She said that, look it up. The same money finances both sides. We now know through the work of many historians who have spent their lives working on research that both sides of the world both sides of world conflicts have always been financed by the same people. And as I've said many times before, it seems to be the method to the madness going on in the world. We know, of course, we cannot depend on the truthfulness of our leaders. Our leaders are misleaders. There is a science they are following. They have their own agenda, and it does not include you. This agenda also does not include many of our politicians, who have sometimes felt helpless and spoke out as a result. In 1922, New York Mayor John Hylan said, "The real menace of our republic is this invisible government which, like a giant octopus, sprawls its slimy length over city, state, and nation. Like the octopus of real life, it operates undercover in a self-created screen." I guess the octopus sprays all that black ink out. At the head of this octopus are the Rockefeller Standard Oil interest and a small group of powerful banking houses, generally referred to as international bankers. The little coterie of powerful international bankers virtually run the United States government for their own selfish purposes. They practically control both political parties. What I have said, however, is that they do control both parties, among many other things in the world. Jordan Maxwell. Buy his book. I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm not reading all of his book. Just giving you a sampling of what's in here. Conflicts require money and cooperation. World conflicts require world banks and international monetary funds. Professional groups have all fraternal orders. doctors, attorneys have their own specific fraternal orders. In the banking world, it is the same way. They have the same fraternal order in banking and politics. However, we are not supposed to know anything about that because it's not any of our business. That fraternal order in politics and banking has been known for many years by those on the inside. It has been referred to by different names at different times in different countries. The best overall name we can confer on this fraternal order, which is running our country, politics, monetary system, is Freemasonry. Yes, that's what I said, Freemasonry. And a lot of people, when you talk to them, my uncle was a Freemason, my father was a Freemason, my friend is a Freemason. Well, I know it's a pyramidal structure. Way down on the bottom level, the people who get introduced, allowed to join the Freemasonic Society, they don't go straight to the top. You have to go 1 degree at a time. And if you don't prove yourself to be someone that they can trust, reliable, and I mean that in the negative sense, if you're a godly person, Christian, godly, whatever religion, and you wouldn't lie, cheat, or steal, you're never going to make it past the 3rd step, to the 4th and the 5th. Never mind to the 16th or the 20th or the 32nd. Neither will they get you to be the county dog catcher, the county sheriff, the judge, the mayor, the senator, the representative. You've got to... They have to believe they can control you. They have to have something on you, generally speaking. Look at George Bush, you know, in the Skull and Bones. What the goings on inside that tomb. That they have to get in a coffin naked and tell all of their sexual things and probably do some crazy sexual things. So you see, it's a recruiting thing, the Freemasonic lodges. The good people won't filter up. And some people slip through the cracks. And when they get up there, they find out what it's all about. And they write books. Sometimes they get killed. The truth needs to be told. Our country, like so many before us, and like so many after us, was in fact founded by Freemasons. George Washington was a Freemason. But you remember, these people were financed, controlled. Does it necessarily make them evil? Did they think they might be doing something good? How vast can the farce be, the deception? Freemasonry, in one form or another, has played a role in almost every government that was founded in this world. Wow. It is powerful in operation today throughout the world. However, we do not want to establish first that we are not talking about blue masonry or the Masonic lodges in your hometown. We're not talking about the Freemasons that live across the street from you. We're talking about the worldwide fraternal organization that is powerful enough, old enough, and wise enough to operate behind all governments in the world, behind fraternal institutions, and behind international money systems of the world. And yes, they are in fact connected. So like I said, the lodge on your corner street, maybe they open it up to the public to do yoga. If there's any evil going on, most of the people on the lower levels are unaware or have been beguiled, misled, and deceived. But I've shown this in my videos and seen it for myself. There is a misleading philosophy, a theology, which is a religion. There is a switcheroo going on. That's the best word, switcheroo. 30, 40, 50 years ago, Christianity, the Bible Belt and all that, Families leave it to beaver, normal reality presented itself. Now, all that normalcy is taking a turn, to me, towards the dark side. Gaia worship, Mother Earth worship, higher consciousness, which I've got nothing against a lot of that. But it is somebody trying to destroy Christianity and bring us this new religion with a lot of Luciferic satanic symbolism. Is there something at a higher level going on? I believe there is, and I believe we can see it. And we're going to see it, some of it in this video. For instance, the idea that our country was founded by so many Freemasons and Rosicrucians. Abraham Lincoln was one of the leaders, the nationwide leader of the Rosicrucian fraternity at one time, which is an occultic fraternity into the higher consciousness. You can give it a nickname, witchcraft, shamanism. Hey, it is what it is. And again, I'm not against some of that. I can use a pendulum and find water. I enjoy experimenting or wanting to raise my consciousness as a human being. But I do know that growing up Catholic, I've had this blind faith in God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. We're all spiritual beings in these biological bodies. And the 10 Commandments are my guide. Don't kill, that's obvious. Don't steal, that's fairly obvious. Don't do adultery. Your friend's out of town, so you sneak over and try to have sex with his wife. Wrong. Don't bear false witness. Don't covet what other people have. Spend your life seething in hatred because you don't have the Mercedes your neighbor has. That's insane. Be thankful for what you have. And the first 5 commandments is there's one God, number 1. Second commandment, no idols. You shouldn't be worship golden calves or other idols. 5th commandment is honor thy mother and father. That's common sense. Obey the Sabbath. Don't take the God's name in vain. The commandments are not that tough to accept. And apparently, if you're into witchcraft, to be a successful and a witch that grows, you have to break a commandment every day, and purposely. And I suppose the ultimate commandment you would break would be to murder somebody. What level of witchcraft do you get promoted to for accomplishing that breaking of a commandment? Do not murder. Do they do that? Do they sacrifice children and people on altars? If you look on the internet, and you look on YouTube, and you read books and other stuff, yes, they're seriously into sacrificing, sexual abuse, pedophilia, at high levels of government and society. Worshipping Lucifer. We ask ourselves, continuing on with Jordan Maxwell, why do we fold the American flag in a triangle? Why does the pyramid or triangle, what does it have to do with the American system of government? The Freemasonic Royal Arch. Here's some symbols. And here's their version of the Royal Arch in St. Louis. The Red Cross uses a Freemasonic symbol. The sun and the moon, the all-seeing eye, the 6-pointed star you see under the eye. The 5-pointed stars you see on all the columns. It's a fascinating study when you start researching symbolism. Okay, so you got the stuff on the dollar bill. We must now recall that our Constitution was signed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is referred to the Keystone State. The reason why Pennsylvania is the Keystone State is because the Freemasons that founded this country were members of the Scottish Rite. Keep following here, and you will see what becomes quite evident surrounding the classification of Keystone. I'm not going to get into all this stuff. You can go get the book and learn something. You might want to ask yourself some very important questions about this point. For instance, why is Hollywood continually bombarding our country and this world with trash movies which portray violence, rape, crime of every kind, a constant outpouring of appalling bloodshed? Why does Hollywood continue to pump out motion pictures depicting murder and violence and bloodshed, then turning around to insist that movies don't have any influence on young people's minds or people's minds in general, when the obvious is so conclusively true that all tapes and movies influence people's minds? And the truth be told, we know they have the technology to put little subliminal flashes in these movies. So how insane will it get? What have they done? What can they do? Program people to go into a movie theater and start shooting everybody? Go into a church? How can they affect the mind that way? According to my research, they're well advanced in those kinds of technologies. They can do things that I can't even think of. And I can think of a lot of things that I've read that they have done and are doing. MK Ultra, mind control. Project Montauk, abducting young boys. Even to the point where they say that they've developed some kind of an electronic apparatus that can open up a time portal. And abducting young children and pushing them into it, not knowing where they're going. Would they do that? It's insane, huh? Look up the Philadelphia experiment. Apparently on a battleship, USA battleship, they put microwave transmitters all around the hull, turned them on, brrr, and the ship disappeared and reappeared miles down the waterway, with people half in and half out of the bulkhead. It gets even more interesting. CERN, the collider that they're turning on right now, to the highest levels that's ever been done. Why do they have the statue of Shiva out there, the most demonic demon possible for the Hindu and Indian religion? And the symbol is 666. And they got a video where you can watch the workers inside the CERNs doing the Shiva dance. And if you watch that video I saw on YouTube, just look up Shiva dances, YouTube videos, and they got a cartoon where all the cartoon characters were doing the same Shiva demonic dance. Remember that movie Indiana Jones, where they were lowering the girl down on that metal grate into the molten lava, and then he rescues her, and they had the ceremony going on, like the Bohemian Grove and the cremation of care, throwing a baby in the fire? Apparently these witchcraft ceremonies of various kinds are going on all over the world. There's something more to reality than what we know, and it might behoove us to wake up to the fact that there is something more to reality than what we know or are willing to mentally accept. Ask yourself why, back to the book, what is the purpose of portraying so much violence and horror and gory bloodshed in motion pictures? There is a reason for it. You'd better think about it. So says Jordan Maxwell. All right, you're going to love this. You might want to ask yourself about the biological warfare going on in the world today. Sky spraying, for example. What kind of biological pathogens, dried blood with AIDS in it, or Ebola, could they drop from the sky at any given day? And say we're having an Ebola outbreak. And could they do that? Would they do that? Are they going to do that? I'm looking up now to see if they're spraying right here. They spray pretty much every day. Here in the mountains of North Carolina. AIDS coming out of nowhere. Coming into the homosexual community. Just what are homosexuals doing today that they didn't do 6,000 years ago? Why is it that all of a sudden in 1980s we all had AIDS? Is there any connection between the AIDS and the Legionnaire's disease? And the biological experimentation going on with the CIA? There are a couple books. Leonard Cole, Leonard Horowitz, two authors who wrote books on the government intentionally experimenting on the USA people with biologicals like this. Because apparently there's a treaty signed that says you can't experiment on other countries' peoples, but you can experiment on your own. Did you know that? You gotta love these treaties. It's like Obama trying to sign the Pacific Trade Agreement now, get that signed. A treaty now, bypassing Congress, House of Representatives, and the legal laws. And apparently, it's going to further erode or destroy the USA economy if they get away with it. But apparently in that treaty, there's a provision for the disarmament of the guns from the USA people as demanded by China. So when they say they signed the treaty and tell everybody they have to be disarmed, and the people who resist, will there be some kind of internal revolution? And all those troops and equipment being dispersed throughout the United States right now with Jade Helm. Are they planning for such an event? I noticed they have something else going on weird on YouTube right now, is this mass focus on the flat earth theory. Everybody and their brothers coming out with laser technologies, climbing up on top of buildings, eye-leveling things, trying to prove that the earth is really flat. My take on it, it's a big diversionary tactic from all this other stuff I've been going over, and other people, and things that are about to happen like Jade Helm. Because for one thing, what does it matter whether the earth is round or flat? It's not going to affect our daily routine. The sun is going to rise and be high noon and set. The stars will be out at night. The argument is a waste of time when there are much more important issues to be focused on. We could always get to the flat earth theory in discussion at any time. Nothing's going to change. But it's hot on the internet. Why? And also, I've noticed too, that usually, you go check YouTube or your email, and they always have recommend some videos to watch, or your email, there's always some kind of advertisements in the corner. But I've noticed now on the suggestions they give me, they're blocking out certain things that I look at, like Jade Helm, for example. Anything to do with Israel. So with the computer technologies now, just in a slightly, how do I say that? It's a sinister little technology that you don't notice it. That they took that stuff away. It doesn't come up for the recommendations. Unless you're someone who pays attention, you wouldn't even notice they were doing a switcheroo on you. Because I look at a diverse type of different issues, diverse issues. Whether it's monitoring what they're saying about Planet X, monitoring what they're saying about Yellowstone, monitoring what they're saying about a comet striking Earth, Russia threatening nuclear war, China with the battleships and the fighting over territory over there, or being upset in the news today that their stock market is crashing, and they're saying the elites running the USA are secretly conspiring to have crashed their market, and they're losing trillions of dollars. And they're saying this, apparently China advised Russia that World War III has started. The USA, NATO, whoever has provoked that, the secret elitists who run the world, not the common citizen like you or me. Okay, back to this book. Biological experimentation going on with the CIA, the NSA, and all the other government agencies that don't want you to know anything about it. Is it possible that there could be some sort of biological experiments going on, some of them going awry, some of them purposely going awry, just like I said, simply to see how far they can go? Is there any kind of rhyme or reason for things that are happening today? And remember, this book was published 2000. Right? Not going to do too much more here. I'll just finish this. Here we go. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you or any of us to think too much. That's why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, the distraction drivel of soap operas, the every night inane nonsense of sitcom television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every other kind of entertainment. It is perpetuated primarily to keep the human mind distracted and entertained. I had to cancel cable TV. It was just too much. The propaganda, who knows what it was doing to my mind. So I haven't had it for years, 10 years. And I think I'm a little less cloudy or a little less under mind control than most people. But a lot of people these days are smart and have canceled cable TV. This constant distraction assures that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. Apparently a lot of people who do thinking and do learn too much get assassinated on a regular basis. Oh my God. You had better wake up and understand that there are people guiding your life and you don't even know it. And we now understand that most all American citizens have suspected that something like this is going on. We are all too busy being frenzied with this entertainment and distractions, trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it? One person can do nothing, but a national, well-informed society can do much. So I think I'm going to stop there on this book and pick up and read some more from Jordan Maxwell. But in the meantime, I thought I would take a look at a few other books. Tex Mars is somebody I want to go over. These other books I look at will probably be other books I do future videos on. So I thought I'd give everybody a preview of what the future might bring on my videos. And I want to do a video on Tex Mars, Dark Majesty, The Secret Brotherhood, and The Magic of 1,000 Points of Life. Alright, The Secret Brotherhood and The Magic of 1,000 Points of Light. Didn't George Bush say that several times? 1,000 points of light. And he was a member of the Secret Brotherhood, no doubt about it. The Secret Brotherhood. In this explosive new book, best-selling author Tex Mars unravels the whole fantastic story of the men who have been called the Illuminati, the wise men, the hierarchy of the world mind, or simply the order. He uncovers their strange and unexpected worship of a mysterious God whose name they conceal, and he exposes the hidden depths of what they call their great work the illumination of mankind by 1,000 points of light. The secret brotherhood is frightening conspiratorial network, includes mysterious Bilderberger Group, the notorious Skull and Bones Society, the clandestine Black Lodges of Freemasonry, the secretive Knights of Malta. Its diabolical influences reach into the cores of power at the White House, the CIA, the Federal Reserve, and even the Vatican. The secret brotherhood, men of wealth and position. They have the power to change your life dramatically and fast. And that's a big concern right now. That something's looming here between, what is today, the 7th of August, and they say something terrible is going to happen by September 23rd. A little over a month away, 2015. The stakes are high. Your job, your bank account, your family. And if you fight back, they just might take your life. So it might behoove me to do a video on Tex Mars and his book and other materials that I have. So what did they call World War I? They didn't know there was going to be another one and another one, World War II or possibly World War III, as Albert Pike said in one of his letters to a letter he wrote to a friend in Europe, that 3 world wars would be required to bring about the New World Order. You can look that up, Albert Pike, 3 world wars, his letter. But here's an interesting book. Boyce and the Bolshevik. Nestor Webster, a well-known author. April 26th to 27th, 1922. Remember, World War I, called the Great War. You're going to love the timing of this. But in December, a couple days before Christmas, in 1913, President Wilson conspired with some leaders in the USA and some banksters from Europe, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Bank of England, Bank of Germany, to create the Federal Reserve that took over the USA's money supply. So basically they gave our USA government back in 1913 a blank check. They would just print off as much money as President Wilson wanted, needed. That's why we're in debt up to here. It's because they planned it that way. They want us to be in debt. They need us to be in debt to take over the country. So December 2013. When do you think World War I started? 6 months later. June 2014. And Wilson promised the American people we would not be going to war, get involved. Meanwhile, he was already spending money to convert the industrial factories for manufacturing war equipment. Meanwhile, Rothschilds, the Illuminati head, Jewish Zionist Rothschild family, owner of the Bank of Germany and Bank of England, now the Federal Reserve, made a deal with the English, who were losing the war with Germany. Would have lost it, without a doubt. The German subs were sinking all the shipping, military ships, commercial ships. It was a one-sided war. Germany was so advanced. So Rothschild made a deal with the UK people, with Mr. Balfour, and said, hey, I'll use my vast amount of money, plus guarantee you the USA will get in the war. Because he had control of President Wilson. And in return, you're going to give me the land and property at Palestine, land of Canaan in the Bible, so we can start up the state of Israel. And then, of course, we want to build the brand new King Solomon's temple and bring about biblical prophecy. I'm sure he left those last two sentences out of the discussion, but that was the plan. So a big conspiracy behind World War I, called the Great War back then. Anyways, this book here exposes a lot of the inside goings on and propaganda in the social field. I'm just reading a little bit of one page. Maybe I'll do a video on more of this material. Jewish nationalism does not confine itself to operations in the fields of banking and commerce, nor to the field of politics, where action is so necessary to accomplish its ambitions. Remember, their ambition is a new world order, a new age, where Lucifer worship instead of God and Jesus, or any other religion. They're destroying the Muslims and Islam. It has reached almost every field of human endeavor. This is Jewish nationalism, especially where there was opportunity to nullify the influence of the Christian religion. They spent 1,000 years hating the Christians, maybe 2,000 years. Remember, they're the ones responsible for killing Jesus. Pontius Pilate, the Roman leader, said, I don't want to crucify this guy. I don't want that on my head, Son of God. And all of a sudden the Jews started chanting, let it be on our head, let it be on our head. So they crucified Jesus. Then you got that movie comedian star, Silverstein, whatever her name is. On TV you can see the videos, you've probably seen them. She said she's Jewish, that if Jesus were to come back, she'd be happy to kill him again. What kind of thinking? Psychopathic people are in our world. So, they want to nullify the influence of Christian religion and break down morality. They can assume they're accomplishing their goal. They own Hollywood. They own the money supply. They own our politicians. They're the people behind the Freemasonic lodges and all the organizations. The development of the moving picture furnished the unparalleled opportunity for expression. Millions have felt its influence, which would otherwise escape unscathed. When was this book written? Let's just show you how far back. 1923. You see what I'm saying? This plan has long been in effect. They've spent billions, trillions, years. People have died to bring about this new world order. So millions have felt its influence, which would otherwise escape unscathed. Psychoanalysis is both anti-Christian and morally subversive. Its doctrines relating to sex have been habitually used to seduce. They use sex to seduce even the politicians, whatever their inklings may be. Homosexuality, pedophilia, prostitutes. Many of its advocates are Jewish nationalists, and it is plainly a part of the revolutionary movement. The same may be said of the propaganda of the birth control, behind which are to be found many unsuspecting Christians. It would be impossible to describe this great organization of disorder, nor is it necessary, for by carefully following the aggression along some single line, it is quite possible to picture the methods that have been used in many directions. The general principles of propaganda are always the same. The deliberate attempt by systematic agitation to intensify. I remember 2008, 2007, I bought 50 acres of land in Maine. So I was driving from Florida to Maine, and I opened up another business office. And I was listening to a talk show at night driving on my car. And they said the gay marriage thing was dead and gone. 70% plus were against and 30 were before. But I knew what they were doing. They were spending U.S. tax dollars, and it was coming out of the United Nations, which is controlled by the communists, which is controlled by the Zionist Jewish folks wanting a new world order. Let's just be honest. So then they just do the different movies. What was that? Brokeback Mountain. And then stories in magazines and publications, like on that late show on TV, day show, Ellen. And people come crying and how they've been abused as a gay person, or two people who fall in love as gay people. They were mind controlling the people. So the next year I'm driving from Florida to Maine, only 60% are opposed to gay marriage. And it was slowly inking up. They were educating the population, the people, with propaganda and lies, beguilement, deception. Stuff you learn in books about Deutsch and Bolsheviks. It says here, the general principles of propaganda, page 56, are always the same. The deliberate attempt to systematically agitation to intensify. Now, World War II, because they backed out, reneged on their agreement with Rothschilds on the Balfour Agreement after World War I, the British wouldn't sell the Arabs out and give them the Palestinians land. You can imagine the Rothschilds had financed all that money to make Britain win the war and deceive the American people and get Wilson to get the people and the money with the Federal Reserve that they now own and control. The whole nation's money supply of the United States, Rothschilds controlled. What do you think they use for security? For that money that they print and loan to our politicians to spend on these wars and battleships and fake moon landings and everything else. And they say the USA people are now responsible. And China's ticked. Recently in the news says World War III has started, losing trillions of dollars because of the conspiracy activities going on behind the scenes, and they're losing trillions. That's enough to start a World War III. And who do you think is going to pay the price? The USA people? So anyways, there's another book I need to do a video on. I read this book years ago when I wasn't putting little markers in there. So I suppose I have to read it again, which I probably won't mind, and I'll probably learn more than I knew before. But suffice it to say, George Bush, Rockefeller, Rothschild, all kinds of people were behind Hitler, financed him to be get in the position he was to do World War II. As Albert Pike said, 3 world wars would be required. So I did read this book, a fascinating read, by James Poole and Suzanne Poole. Who financed Hitler? The Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Wouldn't that be the King and Queen, or the powerful people of England? Visit their Berkshire garden. Took a lot of money to put Hitler in place. I need to do this. Same kind of things going on right now as they're trying to drag us into a war. Alright, I'm trying to be brief here. I don't want to make this video too long. A lot of people have attention deficit disorder, ADD, or so they've been told by their doctor. A lot of people just might be lazy and just don't want to learn. But To Eliminate the Opaque by Rabbi Marvin Entelman, which I reference quite often. He's a rabbi now, leader of the Jewish Congress of the United States. That's pretty high up. You're not going to believe it. I'm going to read the back. I've made videos on these books. Need to probably do some more. Rabbi Marvin Entelman does a good job. Jacob Frank, that would be a leading satanic Jewish person, to whom sin was holy. Actually, committing a sin is holy. That's witchcraft. That's why they have to break a sin every day. Even the ultimate one, murdering, probably gets them promoted to the king of the witches. That's why they sacrifice children and people. Adam Ushtoff, the creator of the Illuminati, was a Jesuit priest. On the back of this. Isn't the Pope we have in the Vatican now a Jesuit priest? And aren't they the warriors for the Christian religion church, Rome? The assassins? Might not behoove us to have a Jesuit Pope. Anyway, so he was a Jesuit priest who founded the Illuminati on May Day, from which the Communist Party emerged. So the Jesuits, Zionists, created the Communist Party. How Ushtoff's Illuminati and Frankists worked hard, hand in hand, to destroy religions and governments. So they are working, and probably done a great job to already get there, destroy Christianity. You talk to people about it now and they get a nasty look. They hate Christianity. They've been deceived. I got one document that shows back then in 1920s and 1916s where the communist document, I'll review it on this series of videos. I'll probably make 3 on this book review. But they said they were going to send people and infiltrate the Catholic Church, Rome, to destroy the Catholic Christian religion. They said that. It's in their documents. It's right here in this book. The connection between the Frankists, Illuminati, Jacobins, and French Revolution that changed society. Why Jewish-born Karl Marx was an anti-Semite and wrote A World Without Jews. A lot of people don't know this. I've got to say it here now again. Not all Jews are bad Jews. Not all Jews are good Jews. And there's a lot of Jews who are apathetic, who don't care. They don't care about their religion. The good Jews still worship God. The bad Jews said that's not good, and they think sin is holy, so they've switched over to the being of light, Lucifer, Satan, Baphomet. And they actually pray to this devil. They prefer that path than to try to abide by the 10 Commandments. So how can you say anybody says they hate Jews when half of them are fighting the other half because they've turned to God? Now, in the Christian religion, you had the Byzantine Christians up there, in Greece, and all those countries north of the Caspian, Baltic Sea, the Orthodox Christians, who felt they didn't need the Pope as the head of the church. So there was the Byzantine Christians, Orthodox Christians, always warring with the Vatican's Catholic Christians. And the same thing with the Muslims. It was the Shiites and the Sunnis. And the Shiites, maybe I'll put up this backwards, but they wanted the leader of the Islam religion to always be a descendant of Muhammad. And the Sunnis said, no, we can pick our leader. Which was the same argument between the Rome's Catholic Church, the Pope wanted to be the leader, and the Byzantine Christians on the corridor from England to Jerusalem that the Crusades had to march along, didn't want the Pope to be the leader, and they wanted to pick their own leader. So that was the divide. So it's just interesting to know that in the Jewish religion there's a great divide between the ones who still go by the old religion and believe in God and the commandments, and the ones who switched over to Lucifer. And the same thing with the Catholics, Christians, and the Orthodox, and the Islam with the Shiites and Sunnis. It's just interesting there's this divide. And these different religions, Christianity, Islam, and allow this big problem to be in the way. I don't know how you can solve the one with the Jews who have switched over to Lucifer, which a lot of indifferent Muslims, Arabs, Christians have joined in the satanic Lucifer religion, witchcraft, Kabbalah, basically anything for money. I mean, how many old movies have I watched where the hitman, gangster movie, would shoot a couple people, and then upon leaving, you'd do the cross sign. How ridiculous is that? Things you notice. How the Illuminati founded artificial Judaism. In the Bible, in Revelation, the last book in the Bible, it does say, Jews who call themselves Jews but are not. Okay, who are they? How the Illuminati founded artificial Judaism. Why the Frankists provided the leadership for the reform and conservative movements. How Judaism was labeled orthodox in order to destroy it. How the Labravitcher Rabbi foiled a mass assimilation conspiracy in Russia, whatever that means. A plot to destroy the Torah through the field of biblical criticism. Why today's reforms clerics gravitate to communism, communist causes, and support black anti-Semite groups. The Jewish people throughout history have always, let's say they wanted that particular territory. They would go in there and they would find out who fought each other, and they would finance one side to fight the other. And they would sit back and watch their enemies fight each other so that then they could just go in and take everything. The old technique of divide and conquer, tactic. Why the wealthy financed communist revolution? So why did the wealthy people finance the communist revolution? Well, communists at its highest point, which they want to do in the United States, bring it down into a third world nation, is basically slave employment or murdering, depopulating 90% of the population that they don't want around anymore. World domination. Right out of a movie. The true sources of Frankenstein monster. So what is Frankenstein monster? When they had that satanic religion with the Frankist. The significant mystical designs on the American dollar bill. Rabbi Marvin Antelman tells all. Have to revisit that again. All right, letters on meditation. We've gone over this before. We need to really go over it again. Alice Bailey, high into the occult, as we already know, the New Age religion, meditation, all this other stuff. Let me just read one little tidbit. I just opened it up at random, and it says, the shifting of polarization from emotional to mental, and thence to the casual, and later to the threefold spirit, inevitably entails a period of great difficulty, of violent conflict, both internally with the environment, intense suffering, and apparent darkness and disruption. So what I'm trying to point out here, this is all this stuff on the occult, contacting beings on the other side, interdimensional communications. But my point is who published this book? Lucas Publishing Company. See right there in the bottom? So a leader on occult meditation. Letters on some of her books. Letters on Occult Meditation, The Consciousness of the Atom, The Treatise on Cosmic Fire, The Light of the Soul and its Mechanism, From Intellect to Intuition, From Bethlehem to Calvary, The Reappearance of the Christ, Glamour, A World Problem, The Destiny of Nations. Well, Lucas Press, Ltd., was formed Lucifer Press. The devil. But they changed the name to kind of soften the appearance. And there's another thing a lot of people don't know. John Quincy Adams, President of the United States, wrote some letters on Freemasonry. Tex Mars, remember we looked at his book, Forward by Tex Mars. But in here, back then they didn't have Republican Party and Democratic Party. They had the Masonic Party and the Anti-Masonic Party. And the Anti-Masonic Party were the Christians. The Masonic Party was basically vying for seats in the Senate, House of Representatives, the presidency. So the Masonic Party was, we believe this, they were the Masons, Freemasons, and Their deity was Lucifer, Satan, and some dark energies. And the anti-Masonic Party were Christians, not Republicans or Democrats. Anyways, it was decided at the end of the day back then that the Freemasons would never allow anybody back into Congress or the House of Representatives or the presidency that didn't come from the world of Freemasons. And it's that way today, which we will see. I think Kennedy was the one who, by the power and money of his father, Joe Kennedy, managed to get into there as a Catholic president and to disrupt that rule of thinking where only Masons could be presidents or representatives or senators. And look what they did to him. And apparently, I learned this today, after they assassinated him, 100 people of his friends or associates or people in government were dropping like flies. Died, killed, assassinated. This is serious business. We're going to go over that. Secrets of the Tomb, Skull and Bones, the Ivory League, the Hidden Power Paths to Power. It's like I keep telling you. George Bush and the Skull and Bones. Alex Robbins, bold new voice and superb reporter with an eye for a good story, has turned her attention to another fascinating tale. The secret societies at Yale have walls of confidentiality as hard to breach as those of the CIA. And none more so than Skull and Bones. She has managed to break through and with wit and energy shows us what happens when friendship and power meet. Should do a video on this. Alright, I've done this before. Fritz Springmeier tells us that most presidents were related. And the elitist family, the Rothschilds, is in here. The people who conspired to create the Federal Reserve. Look at the symbols. All this money and power by all these elitists who own most of the factories and kill people to get other properties. Here's one here, World Revolution, the plot against Christianity. Nestor Webster. We need to go over this. Just read one little thing from it. She was a very smart lady. Page 21. It is the Jesuitry, the Jesuits, like the Pope is a Jesuit Christian Catholic, the military arm of the Vatican, the assassins of Wuchthof, the guy who created the Illuminati, the Jesuit of Wuchthof, that causes all our divisions is the despotism that he exercised over men perhaps less rich. I gotta lubricate the throat to speak clearly. That he exercises over men perhaps less rich than himself in imagination, in ruses, in cunning. So apparently Wuchthof, who created the Illuminati, was cunning. I declare that nothing can put me on the same footing with Spartacus. These Illuminati people like George Bush or Reagan or whoever, they give themselves names. As that on which I was at first. As a matter of fact, Knight was in no way behind Wuchthof in what he described as Jesuitry, but revolted by the tyranny of his leaders, he finally left the Illuminati in anger and disgust. Because a lot of people laugh when you say the word Illuminati, they just don't believe it. So when was this book written? 1921. Says Illuminati. So he left the Illuminati in anger and disgust. They rule the world today. These would be the Zionism, Jesuits, Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Church of Satan, Club of Rome, Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, Hollywood banksters, rich elites, practicing all this witchcraft, Kabbalah, occultic stuff. Deceiving the world's people. I abhor treachery and profligacy. He wrote again to Cato, I will leave him to blow himself and his order into the air. Well, apparently they didn't blow up. There's caused World War I, World War II, probably the Korean War, Vietnam War, all of 9/11, Middle East, Ukraine, who knows, Brazil, infantadas, Costa Rica. Any president who didn't go along or country gets taken over. Serious business. Public opinion had now, however, been thoroughly roused on the subject of this society, and the elector of Bavaria, informed of the dangers to the state, constituted by its adepts, who were said to have declared that the Illuminati must in time rule the world. 1921. Pause it, read it. Don't believe me, please. Published an edict forbidding all secret societies. So over there in Germany back then, they had an edict in Europe that they couldn't have secret societies. But we got them here in the United States on every street corner. In April of the following year, 1785, 4 other Illuminati who, like Knight, had left the society disgusted by the tyranny of Wusthof, who summoned before a court of inquiry to give an account of those doctrines and methods used by the sect. The evidence of these men, Schneider, Cassidy, Grugenberger, Riener, all professors of the Marian Academy, left no further room for doubt as to the diabolical nature of Illuminism. All religion, they declared, all love of country, loyalty to sovereigns, were to be annihilated, a favorite maxim of the order being. 1921. All right, we got a little treat for you. A little picture discussion. When I watch videos lately, I found it's just as convenient for me to take my camera out and snap a picture, and I can run over to the pharmacy and develop the pictures. So one of the this evil religion is sacrificing children. As you can see here, Moloch, with the baby being given to the demonic entity. Remember I said a lot of our leaders have been to Bohemian Grove in California? Alex Jones of Infowars.com snuck in there and videoed the thing. They're dressed in long robes, shipped in young men for gay men for sex. Wow. Alright, we're going to do a picture show and then we'll be done with this video. Should be interesting. There's a book out there called The Naked Communists. Maybe people ought to read it. George Bush's daughter doing the devil sign. George Bush has been photographed doing the devil sign. The Pope has done the devil sign. Obama's done the devil sign. What more do people need to see? The Fabian Society, an elitist group, making decisions for the world, saying that they're doing good things. Their logo is this wolf in sheep's clothing. They're part of the evil. You're not going to believe this. Once we squeeze all we can out of the United States, it can dry up and blow away. Former Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, after leaving U.S. double agency spy Jonathan Pollard's jail cell. Did he really say this? I suspected he did, or somebody wouldn't have published this. Jade Helm going on right now. Joint Assistant for Development and Execution. Homeland Eradication of Local Militants, 2015. Military computer program that makes execution of a plan flexible to instantly creating a secondary plan of action when changes occur. So they're not going to have men controlling this World War III. It's all going to be done by computers. It scans everybody's Facebook or emails or phone calls and sees who they were talking to. Are they for gun law, against gun law, for the gay agenda, against the gay agenda? Might they resist gun confiscation or getting the mark of the beast? So a computer program, which is indifferent, it's a computer software program, is what James Helm is all about. A new kind of warfare. They got this new conversation now on the internet that I mentioned earlier about a flat earth and a conspiracy that there were really not a ball floating in space. But with all these other things that I'm talking about, I think it's a futile issue. No matter which way it is, we get up in the morning, the crops grow, sun rises, sun sets. But so many people are being sucked into that argument. I would suspect that the powers that be are doing that on purpose to distract everybody from what's really going on. So I guess they're a little nervous that we're catching on to their game. So I would point that out. Don't get sucked up in it. It doesn't matter. Let's just go with the earth is round and goes around the sun, and let's pay attention to the real problems. Hitler or Rothschilds. So we saw who financed Hitler. Apparently he was Rothschild's illegitimate son, had sex with the maid. This is backed up by Walter Langer in his book The Mind of Hitler, which he states Adolf's father, Otto's Hitler, was the illegitimate son of Maria Anna Schnuckengruber. Maria Anna Schnuckengruber was living in Vienna at the time she conceived. At that time she was employed as a servant to the Baron Rothschilds. As soon as the family discovered her pregnancy, she was sent back home, where Alois was born. So, I guess Adolf Hitler wasn't the direct child, it was the indirect child. Is that true? Freemasonry and Judaism worship the same Egyptian gods. And I think we can say that's true for the Reformed Jewish folks, not the Orthodox, where Moses went up to the mountain to get the Ten Commandments. He came down the mountain, and all the Jewish people who he had led away from slavery in Egypt, while he was up at the mountain supposedly talking to God, getting the 2 tablets, and his face was glowing and his hair was all gray, like some big spiritual event happened. And they had taken all their gold and made a golden calf and were practicing the ancient Egyptian religion. He smashed the tablets. Had to get new tablets. So Freemasonry and Judaism worship the same Egyptian gods, even per Albert Pike's book and other material that I've gone over. 6-pointed star, 6 mini triangles surrounding 6 hetegrams. So the Star of David is a 666 star, which again is a Luciferic thing. Zion and wolves in the church. We got people here in the USA that are saying that if you don't support Israel, God's going to send you to Hades. And the little dot on the map controls these people, gets them money. They've probably sold us Americans out and are trying to destroy Christianity, which the Jewish people, many of them, not all of them, hate. And if you don't believe me, go on the jpost.com, the Jerusalem newspaper, and read some of the press releases and then read the comments below. Long-term toxicity of Roundup herbicide and Roundup-tolerant genetically modified maize, corn. Biggest threat that I see, that Alex Jones's little boy did a video that was good, was this Monsanto genetically modified foods is the biggest threat because it destroys our bodies. So here was a little press release I found. And just to see what they've done, remember Miley Cyrus when she was a little girl and your kids were probably watching her? Or if you were watching her. Her legs are sticking out of a pyramid, satanic symbolism, Illuminati, representing the figurative dismemberment of MK slaves and the ground for dualism pattern. So somebody is showing us that they're using Miley for some of this mind control stuff. Some people a lot smarter in these programs. Two heads mirroring each other represent split personality of the MK Ultra slave. This stuff is intentional. Genetically engineered foods alter our digestive systems. Look this stuff up. Don't believe me. Many countries in the world have banned genetically modified foods, but here in the United States, they're embracing it. Our own leaders who publicly, according to the USA Georgia Guidestones, want to reduce the population, kill off 90% of the population. So of course they want us to have genetically modified foods, which our stomachs don't recognize as food. Attacks the food as an enemy, tumors and cancers. So Planet X, NASA files, they know it's coming. So they hate having this threat on the internet about some incoming body. Look up this video. Planet X, NASA files, they know it is coming. The fear-mongering, is this part of the plan? Is it really coming? CNN Jessica Yellen on a hologram. The technology they have today that I keep mentioning is so sophisticated. It can produce a person that looks like a real person. That's a hologram of Jessica Ellen on CNN, talking to Wolf, I think. That's a hologram. So what can they do? Naturally, the common people don't want war, neither in Russia nor in England, nor in America, for that matter, in Germany. That is understood. But the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them they are being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. It's the way it works in any country. Hermann Göring. Don't let these leaders intimidate you. Albert Pike, a Second World War must be fermented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. It says Zionist right there, they're real. This war must be brought about so that the Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state, Israel, in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to control Christendom. They want to destroy Christianity. Albert Pike, who wrote the Bible for the Freemasons, Morals and Dogma, which indicates that they do worship the same rules as satanic beings and Judaism. You're going to love this guy here. Some even believe that we are a part of a secret cabal, working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty. And I am proud of it. David Rockefeller. Remember David Rockefeller, the earlier Rockefeller, John, I guess it was, during the 1910, 1920s, the Rockefeller family. And Eustace Mullins' book, Injection by Murder, Murder by Injection, that they went all over the country and forced all the water supplies systems in all the cities and towns to put fluoride in the water, which reduced your IQ and your children's IQ and caused you health problems. It was all done in plan. And the sky spraying of chemicals in the sky, which I say is a weapon, is causing weather control. But right here's a document that is a mechanical analog to micron-sized mechanical dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Dust mechanically bores into lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. A wholly new class of weaponry which is legal. So they can dump stuff from the sky that's going to mess up your lungs. Spraying us every day if you go up there and look. Go outside your house and get your camera. Take your video camera. Here's another one. Geoengineering, Jade Helm 215, Sentient Mass. These are just videos I watched. And I just took my camera out and took a picture to do this little picture shoot here. They are spraying us day and night, barium and aluminum. And we know aluminum causes Alzheimer's, you know. So we're all going to lose our memory and our minds and become zombies. How insidious is it going to get? We're all breathing these nanoparticles into our lungs. So at nighttime, you can get your camera out and shine a flashlight in the air and you can see the little particles. According to this video, spraying is occurring over the entire Earth, even at night. See, at night when they're spraying above, you can take a flashlight and see the little particles. Somebody took a picture. And these poor little critters, a little cartoon here, says we're dissolving. So apparently spraying the stuff in the sky over the oceans is messing with the life in the water. Then they would have us believe that we are in debt, education, student loans, the country having us blank check to go ahead and fight all these wars for the Zionists to take over the world and saying we owe the money. We don't own the money. We didn't spend the money. The money wasn't spent on us. And you know, the ongoing fear stuff just goes on and on and on and on. Many years now. And so the devil is on this guy's back saying, yeah, this is the last one for sure. Workouts in Hell, training partners, geoengineering, Jade Helm, Sentient Mass. So like every time they tell us every year a planet's coming, a comet's coming, the end of the world, since 9/11 they've been just keeping this stuff going year after year. It's wearing people out. U.S. military presence overseas. So you wonder where all that money they're spending is going? Look how many bases they have all over the world. That's unsustainable. And they say we owe the money for taking over the world. They want the United States people, the ones who cooperate. The ones who won't cooperate, they'll round up, put in FEMA camps, and probably behead. But the rest of them will be the police cops for the world, controlled by the Zionists from Israel. Here we go. These are your politicians. We are spraying your children. They have no future. Have some more Kool-Aid. Our politicians know what they're doing. The two figures of bundles of sticks on the light and the left on the wall are called fasces. They are symbols of Rome's authority over America. See those sticks bundles on the left and the right? With Obama talking? Apparently, Rome, the Vatican, controls America, the Jesuits, the Zionists from Israel, the Illuminati. And Bill Gates, who says, if we do the vaccine program correctly, we'll rid the world of the overpopulation problem.
Friday, do you need a ride downtown by Sunday?
Maybe.
Keep me posted. Thank you.
My neighbor just yelling out of her car, if I need a ride to go downtown tonight. Isn't that nice of her? You can't wake a person who is pretending to be asleep. Geoengineering, Jade Helm 15, Sentient Mass. I'm right in front of people. A friend of mine just standing right there. And I said, man, did you see that? And I look up and I point up. And it's almost funny, but they refuse to look up. This makes you wonder about the mind control thing. And this is what I might have been looking at. So many people just want to put a bucket over their head and not look. As if they think the problem is going to go away. These are pictures I found I thought were cool. On that video, Geoengineering, Jade Helm 2015, Sentient Mass. I want to give credit where credit is due here. This is an amazing yet scary post. As a father for my only daughter, I simply want to spend every day of it as if it was my last. I don't know what is in store for us here in Quebec, Canada, but rest assured, I'm strongly trying to keep sane of it, if it is only for the sake of my daughter's sanity. They're spraying in Quebec, Canada, too. The hardest is she is only 8 years old, and yesterday, while driving back from Tornos Rivieras, she told me in the car, we have a sunroof. Look, Daddy, the plane is pouring poison again. I never told her anything except what lines were. She hears me talk about it, I guess. Trust me, people. After she said that, I started to cry. I simply told her, I know, sweetie, it's hard to see. I hate it too. Geoengineering Jade Helm 215. Go watch the video. You can see it on the bottom there. And then you got the Alex Jones show. Headlines lately have grabbed attention to the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and even the Vatican is preparing to meet our space brothers. Could globalists be plotting a Project Bluebeam? Look this document up. Project Bluebeam, by the way, is apparently, like you saw that hologram of that lady right there on the CNN. They're going to put gigantic holograms in the sky and maybe think you see Jesus. Apparently, they got this Jade Helm 15. They got this new thing like Ebola. There's the name of it there. If they could put in that sky spraying material or spread around somehow. An Australian antigen. It's supposed to be a really terrible plague-like virus, bacterium. And of course, the Denver International Airport, very strange firmer Jade Helm 15. Why do they have this big man with a sword at the Denver airport? Go look up the Denver airport pictures, paintings. Canadian Mounties override civilian rule to arbitrarily confiscate firearms. RCMP turned thousands of law-abiding Canadian gun owners into criminals overnight. In Canada, they're making gun owners criminals. It's coming out of the United Nations. Sky spraying, New World Order, New Age, Gaia worship, goddess worship. Making it a crime if you speak about Jesus in the military. Gag orders that people can't even talk about the government if they're doing negative things. And Alex Jones, I think he does a good job on Infowars.com. Go watch him, follow him. Scouts trained to fight terrorists and more. So are they training our kids? Hitler did that. And why would the government or the police or anybody do this? You know, you need targets to practice and shoot at. They got a practice target of a pregnant woman. They want to desensitize the police and the military to shoot a pregnant woman. Full color, realistic target. Then with the Jade Helm and the extraction of dissidents in Fort Lauderdale, this was photographed or whatever. So they're practicing this to catch people, probably like me, people who are awake. Drink bottled water, stay off the fluoride. Don't watch cable TV, keep my mind clear. I'm a threat to national security, baby, because I'm an intelligent, aware man. Believes in Jesus, in Christ, God, Holy Spirit. 10 Commandments. I'm a criminal because I don't want to kill people. What's they say about the end times? Up will be down, down will be up. 2 plus 2 will be 5. And 1 and 1 is not 2, it's 11. 2 and 2 is not 4, it's 22. Marine Corps Colonel, Homeland Security, building domestic army. Go look this stuff up. Marine Corps Colonel, Homeland Security, building domestic army. on Alex Jones. And the Pope is coming to Philadelphia on 9/27/15. Some say he's going to announce the New World Order. Judgment is coming. Prepare for the Day of Atonement. Just watching some videos, and I photographed this stuff. As many of you have already heard, there are quite a few events related to end-time biblical prophecy that are expected to happen in 2015, particularly in September. In this video, I will reveal some of these events, keeping in mind that I am in no way date-setting the tribulation or rapture of the church. My intentions for this video are not to feed into hype, getting anyone's hopes up, or fearmonger, but instead spread awareness of what may occur so we can best prepare ourselves. What is happening in September 2015? Go watch the video if you want to see it. And we got Jade Helm, Homeland Eradication of Local Militants, with delivering all this military equipment that people photograph and send into different alternate websites so that they share it with everybody else. I just went down to Charleston, North Carolina, last weekend, and on I-95 going to I-26, I saw a small convoy of military vehicles. Then as I turned onto I-26 at exit 159, I went into McDonald's, and there was a military vehicle parked over at the side, truck, with a couple guys in it, apparently watching. It was quite a lot of people pulling off of I-26 into this particular gas station, truck stop, McDonald's, because they had a low price on gas on I-26 heading to Columbia. So as I pulled out, I looked over, and there he was. They were just sitting there watching this station. All these people coming and going. And then when I got on 26, I saw some more military vehicles this last weekend in North Carolina. Now I realize we do have National Guard, and they do exercises on weekends. So maybe it's nothing. But it did get my attention because of my research. Operation Jade Helm is a realistic military training exercise involving elite branches of the U.S. military and will be conducted throughout the 7 states in the Southwest. The drill is scheduled to begin July of 2015 and last 8 weeks. The troops are to operate undetected among the American civilian population. Look up What is Happening in September 2015 video on YouTube. The UN Security Council is likely to establish a Palestinian state, which would declare that a divided Jerusalem is the capital of both Israel and the Palestinian state, and would set the 1967 boundaries at the final borders between the two nations. I don't think that's going to happen. Israel was a little tiny country when they started, and they've been taking more and more land and killing more and more Palestinians since 1946. Shemitah, they say there's this 7-year sabbatical year of Shemitah coming, some religious holiday that says the whole thing's going to go to Hades. Look up What is Happening in September 2015. They got dates, talk about the Shemitah years, future financial oil crisis, oil shock upheaval, hard recession, stock market crash, bond market crash. So every Shemitah year, something bad happens, according to this website. Mega crash alert in 2015 is a Shemitah year. They're saying something bad's going to happen. You shall count 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years, some of this prophecy stuff. So what is happening in September 2015? They're telling you that it's part of the Shemitah prophecy and atonement of the Jewish religion. Apparently, it represents a period of trial or testing. And they talk about blood moons and dates. And the next one is 9/28. Next month. Just saying, all this stuff is out there. The Muslims' Eid al-Adha, Feast of Sacrifice, falls on September 23rd. Feast of Sacrifices is September 23rd, 2015. said they're planning something for next month, according to a lot of videos and documents. El-Adha, this Islamic festival commemorates what they believe to be the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his son Ishmael to God. And some more crazy news here. Abraham Lincoln was born Springsteen. Albert Pike, leader of the Freemasons, was a Jewish general. Rothschilds, Judah, Benjamin, Jews and queers in the American Civil War. So gay men and Jewish people that we don't know about. Tex Mars video, you can go watch it. Jews and queers in the American Civil War, Tex Mars. Abraham Lincoln was born Springsteen? Here's a rabbi doing the devil sign. See why I took pictures of this stuff. Judaism equals Zionism equals Satanism. This is Tex Mars, smarter guy than me. I got all these books that says all this stuff too. Judaism exposed, Tex Mars. And the Jewish guy's doing the devil sign. He knows what he's doing. The Pope knows what he's doing, the one that just stepped down. What an evil-looking man doing the devil sign. And he's got the Star of David on his head thing there. Six-pointed star. What is going on? Non-Jews exist to serve Jews. Israeli Sephardic leader Rabbi Orvanda Yosef in his weekly Saturday night sermon said that non-Jews, that would be you and me if you're not a Jew, exist to serve Jews, says this rabbi. Goyim were born only to serve us. Without that, they have no place in the world. Only to serve the people of Israel. The Global News Service of the Jewish People, 10/18/2010, Tex Mars video, Judaism equals Zionism equals Satanism, Judaism exposed, Tex Mars. Tex Mars is a well-respected author. I know that Benjamin Netanyahu said some nasty things. The reptilians' agenda, so some in the Bible, there's all these beings, mixed DNA. Philistines, Rephahims, Sidonians, Zamzumi, Zubustite, Zulus. So in the Bible, there's all these creatures described. Are there really some mixed DNA snake beings in our society? The word Nephilim does appear in many translations of the New Bible. International Version, New Living Translations, English Standard Version, New American Standard Bible, International Standard Version, American Standard Version, but it is not in the King James Bible. It says giants in Genesis 6.4. So in all the other Bibles they say Nephilim, but in the King James Version that we all use it says giants instead of Nephilim. So there's more on that here. And we're finished now. We're back to sacrificing the little children to Moloch. So with that, I'll leave this video, and I'll do two more on Maxwell's book, Jordan Maxwell. And I have two more packages of photos. It was 200 photos when I went to develop the film. And the photo shop put them in 3 envelopes. So I'll do a continuation of these different books I have and read a little bit from Jordan Maxwell and look at the other 2 packages of photos in 2 more videos. So it'll be part 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. And I think I will have made an interesting video and proved my point that there's more going on than what most people know, and it might behoove us to pay attention. Sky Sprang, HARP systems, threat of World War III, the gay agenda, the Supreme Court justices, all the Jewish ones voted for it, according to my understanding. If I'm incorrect, look it up. I'll repeat myself and confess my mistake. But it seems that the people who are in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the presidencies, they had debates last night with Trump and Bush and some other people. How bizarre does it have to be? And apparently I heard about Trump. That's something a little odd. But apparently his daughter married a very wealthy Jewish man, and his son married a Jewish woman, and apparently they converted to Judaism. And Donald Trump said, I saw him say this, that he thinks Benjamin Netanyahu is one of the best leaders in the world. And what did Benjamin Netanyahu say about America? That they hate America. This is something to contemplate here. Benjamin Netanyahu said America is a golden calf to be fleeced over and over again. Look it up in Fink's Bar. Benjamin Netanyahu Fink's Bar. Trump said that he thinks he's the smartest leader in the world. Trump's children married Jewish people and are converting to Judaism, according to a video I watched. Is this all true? Is Trump being played out as a stacked deck? Get it? Did they think they could slip that one by us? Rick Merico reporting. Thank you for watching my videos. Leave a comment. If I said anything incorrect, I showed you the books. I showed you the pictures. I pay attention. I research every day. I don't make any money from this. Thank you for watching my video.